Behind me is Viscount Slim. His father, Field Marshal Bill Slim, as he was known, was the commander of the 14th Army, and it became known as the Forgotten Army, because in our cultural heritage we all remember, and rightly so, the heroes of the Second World War, the Battle of Britain pilots, the D-Day veterans, the men who flew over Germany in Bomber Command, 50,000 of whom were killed. They are rightly remembered, but somehow over the decades a kind of non-awareness has grown up around the plight and what of the prisoners in the Far East. I think in the United Kingdom there are only one or two memorials, and there are none, to my knowledge, here in London. That is why I was so enthusiastic when Councillor Roger Robinson came to see me and said that we ought to campaign and raise money for this memorial, which stands here in front of you.
10 years ago, when I was Mayor of Camden, I was at Hiroshima Day in Camden, in the heart of Camden, expressing the grief for the mass decimation of lives that the atomic bomb achieved at the end of the war, when it was expressed to me that we should also work to have a memorial tomb for the prisoners of war, over 66,000 who suffered and died in POW camps in the Far East. As a former national serviceman in combat and a former member of the Territorial and Army Volunteer Reserve, I did feel that this was a memorial long overdue in Camden. I then set up a fund and a working committee comprised of many who had been imprisoned in such camps, and some residents who had worked on the Burma Railway and died at the hands of the enemy or from terrible illness. And thanks to the Camden New Journal, a sum of money was raised from Camden residents to help with the works we then undertook to set up such a memorial.
As you will see, one of the captives in the camps was that wonderful artist Ronald Searle, and he secretively did drawings. He recorded what was happening, and his drawings have been published, and we are using one of them, drawn in captivity, on the memorial, as you will see later. Now I introduce Viscount Slim.
I congratulate everyone in Camden for setting about to get this marvelous memorial, and I'm particularly glad to see the railway lines, because the prisoners built this railway under the most appalling conditions, being beaten, being starved, no medical attention, living worse than animals in the camps. Just about every disease you can think of, from cholera, typhus, malaria, just everything. And for those that survive, and I've got one behind me here, Tony, they're very special men. And those that didn't survive are very special men. They didn't give up the ghost, they were just tortured, they were starved, and they died because there was no medicine. And the Japanese couldn't give a damn. And it's something in the history of the Japanese nation that they don't like talking about. And the way they behaved with the people they captured, prisoners of war, and the countries they conquered, the way they behaved was really quite terrible. We talk about the military prisoners of war. This memorial quite rightly talks about the civilians, In a way, anyone from Britain, man, woman, or child, who was captured in all the different countries from Hong Kong, Malaya, Burma, and the Dutch in the East Indies, the Americans in the Philippines, the French in what was then Indochina. They were very badly treated too. I won't go into it, but in some ways the civilian had a worse time because the Japanese took his business, took the money out of his bank account, separated the men from the husbands, from the wives and the children, and for 4.5 years, none of them knew what was happening, and of course many of them died. And at the end of the war, all they had in life was the loincloths that they were wearing when they were rescued. So it was a very tough, sad story. And to get through that, you had to be one hell of a chap, or one hell of a girl, or one hell of a young boy or girl. If you are the widow, the daughter, the son, the grandson, your father or grandfather or whatever he was, uncle, will have some medals. He'll have the medals that Tony has got here. Now, when you come and remember them, you can wear them. You can put them on the right-hand side. I think I see a lady with them on the right-hand side. And that is a lovely thing to do. And look at me, young boy. When your grandfather, great-grandfather, is not here anymore, you come here and you wear his medals here. All right? He'll like that. I think in memory of all this, we should have 1 minute's silence, and I'll hand over the parade to the Sergeant Major. You can see. Good. Good. And the railway line. Yeah.